Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, the Heat have lost 3 of the last 4 games and get right at home. The Panthers have won 7 straight wins to rise up the conference, and the Dolphins lose the AFC East at home to the Bills. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. We back, and we ain't AFC East champs, but we'll get to that later, dog.
Sheesh.
What's going on, my
Good
brother?
to see you, my boy.
Always.
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
We're in the black.
I'm in all black. I went to work like this because I was like, you know what?
We're kind of in mourning.
I'm mourning the Dolphin season, you know?
Sheesh.
So, yeah. Yeah. And look, obviously, we talked about it on OnlyFans. You know, go check that out right now. And it's an episode that carries a lot of, let's just say, raw emotions, right? Because there's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of opinion in it. There's a lot of anger, right? And emotion in it. And then other than that, we have to find a way to come out of that and focus on the Kansas City Chiefs somehow, some way.
Yeah, there's a lot there, man. There's a lot.
You know what? Let's give it a break. Let's start the show off with the Heat. They've been struggling. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games on the road. Some of them were tough losses. Other games, they got completely, manhandled. More importantly, the one that stuck out to me was that win against the Lakers. We had just lost 2 in a row there. We had lost to the Clippers. We had lost to the Jazz. And, we bounced back and found a way to really fight through that game, and anytime you're going up against a Lakers team that they've struggled themselves since the in-season tournament, you got to find ways to win games, and thankfully the Heat have been able to do that. And again, this is a team that has been continuing to find ways to get some type of offense or some type of defensive consistency without the services of Jimmy Butler. I mentioned it in the preseason talk that we had with the Heat. Jimmy needs to play as many games as possible in order to really give this Heat chance a real shot at being a top 4 seed, because we know how much better we can be when we force teams to come play on our home court. And last year was a tough run, a spectacular run, but it was a tough run to go on the road every single series and try to pull out victories.
What's our record right now?
Right now, the Heat stand at 20-15, second in the Southeast Division, with half a game behind Orlando Magic.
That's 35 games.
Yeah.
So he's only playing in 24 games this year.
Yeah.
So was that 11 games missed?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, the more games Jimmy misses, the harder Bam has to work, the harder Hero has to work, the harder the rest of the guys, the Duncans, the Love, Lowry, Jaquez, you name it. Everybody who's coming off the bench or playing a role. Those jobs get a lot harder because now we're asking them to contribute in some way to what Jimmy gives us, right, when he's available.
Right.
And if he's not there, that just makes it easier on the opponent to say, all right, they're without their main guy. Let's go at these guys in a certain type of way. And that's what happened on this West Coast trip. It's not like we were playing killers. Yeah, the Clippers have won recently and they've been riding a good little streak, but they were sucking before that. And we lost to them by 17, 121-104.
That was a bad one.
Utah, same thing. That's a team that's in the middle of the Western Conference, has some up and downs, but we lost by double-digit points, 12. We get into this Lakers game and it's like, all right, let's fight through it. Had a really good first half, close out the fourth quarter with 38 points to come back. And it's like, all right, this is the type of effort we got to put every game in order to get these dubs. And then you get that follow-up game against Phoenix, and you let Grayson Allen put up 9 3-pointers on you.
I hate that guy.
I do too.
Tell me that guy is not top 5 most hated NBA players.
Absolutely,
right,
dog. Absolutely. Chris Paul is also in that top 5.
Yeah, I guess
he's in that top 5.
He's up there. I know a lot of people hate Chris Paul.
Yeah,
but Grayson Allen is definitely in that list.
Yeah, for sure. And look, he went 9-14. 9-14 from threes.
Tied Phoenix record.
Yep. Career night. But where's the defense? That's a job for Jimmy because that's not a guy that Bam would necessarily cover.
Sure.
And then if you think about who's the next in line as far as defender goes, you're looking at maybe Caleb Martin, who's been out as well. So without our real top two defenders on the wings, and now look at what we're giving up points wise to wing players. That's like I'm gonna keep beating on this drum, dog. This is not the way that the Heat want this season to go. You do not want to be losing games like this in this form and fashion.
On the road,
looking bad without being a defensive sound team. Because it's not like we're losing these games 102 to 97. 103 to 89. Let's say we're off. Or we're really clamping down the defense on these. No, the games we're losing, these teams are averaging 115 to 20 points on us.
Wait. And when you talk about Heat, the Heat organization and the culture and Heat basketball, a lot of that is defensive mind. You know what I mean? Like that's how, we normally do well, is having a great defensive unit. And you wouldn't really tell. Aside from that one Lakers game, you wouldn't be able to tell based off this West Coast run.
No, and again, it's like you have to, and it's a long season, right? But now we're at the quarter mark of the season gone by, right? And we got to look at this team and evaluate it. What else does this team need?
A lot.
We need scoring. We need some size, and we need a point guard. Same shit we've been dealing with. Who's been consistent? Who's been inconsistent? Bam has been consistent. Jimmy has been consistent. Hero's been consistent. The other two guys, Bam and Hero, have missed times with serious injuries, right? Mainly Hero, because 2 times in the playoffs that we've been on a good run and he gets hurt and that shit kills us, right? In the bubble, he got hurt. And then also against the Bucks when he broke his hand or whatever, got hurt and was out all this time until he came back. But he's not missing games for rest. Bam isn't missing games for rest. And we use those guys a lot. Especially Bam, because he defends everything. He's always active on the pick and rolls. He's always active on defensive assignments. There's a guy who crashes the boards, is averaging a double-double for us. Like, we know this dude is putting in the work. We need other people to pick up the slack. And unfortunately, you're asking a lot of the role players to have them pick up Jimmy's slack. Jimmy has to do everything he can to play more this season. And you and I were speaking about it outside. Jimmy has this year and 2 more years left on his Heat contract. Making 48 M's now, 49 M's next season, and 50 M's the following season. I don't want to pay Jimmy $50 million and him only play 55 games, 60 games, and hope that those 20 games that he misses turns into something spectacular in the playoffs. Because as much as he is Himmy and, playoff Jimmy and all this, bro, to do that consistently, year in, year out, regardless of the opponent, regardless of whoever's on your team, is really fucking hard. Mm-hmm. And only a handful of dudes have been able to do that shit successfully in the NBA. And they're considered all-time greats. No disrespect to Jimmy, but he ain't no all-time great. So he has to realize that the clock is ticking on his time here. Because he's not going to fucking retire here. He knows that he's a capable basketball player. Maybe he's going to be able to get away with playing less, as his age comes about, being 35 years old. But time is creeping up. And we can't pay a guy like Jimmy Butler after he completes his contract to extend him for $20, $30, $40 million, $50 million, even if it's over 2 years. Paying a guy who's 37 years old over $10 to $50 million to be the best player on your team is bad business. So either Jimmy steps up and plays now and really says, fuck it, me voy a matar aquí to get the championship ring that I'm chasing down here in Miami, and I'm going to play no matter what, and I'm going to rely on the young guys to carry me instead of vice versa. That's the role that I think that Jimmy needs to be in right now. Because look, we lost that game against Phoenix and we get smoked. Now we come back home tonight where we're playing Houston at the time of recording, and Houston's a piece piece of shit team.
POS.
POS.
They call in the biz.
One of the worst. They're 8th in the Western Conference right now, but they're one of the worst teams.
Now the question is Jimmy available?
No. Still not playing.
Yikes. Not making a good case for yourself, Jimbo.
And I get it. You know,
I love you, though.
We are thankful for everything that he's done. And I'm not saying that I want to get rid of him right now because we cannot afford that. We can't even afford to get rid of him next year because we don't know how the money's going to end up being spread around. Yeah, we have Jimmy and not Jimmy. Well, yeah, Jimmy signed. So is Hero. So is Bam.
Yeah, Jimmy signed through 2026.
Yeah.
So we got him at least for another 3 years.
2.5. Counting this year.
Hero, or do we got him till?
We have him, I think, until 29 or 27. One of those 2 years.
I'll tell you right now.
I think it's 28 or 29. One of those 2 years. Because he signed his extension.
27.
Okay. Bam signed his extension.
Yeah.
Right? So
we have, 3 more years. But yeah, the big question is, he's not getting any younger.
No.
I guess not a question. It's a statement. He's not getting any younger, Jimmy. And the fact that he's missing this many games and it's in the regular season and it's costing his position and arguably, the full team chemistry because he's missing so many games. It raises eyebrows. It's like, what are we really doing? We're not being competitive right now against teams that we should be competitive with. 17-point loss to the Clippers, bro. That one hurts.
That's not it. And again, at the time that we were playing them, the Clippers were struggling. So we could have taken advantage of them and beat them. And then this is always the shit. We win, the Heat win a couple of games, and it's like, oh, look at us in 4th place. We're right where we're in 5th place. We're right where we want to be. And then boom, we lose 3 out of 4, currently sitting in 8th.
Yeah, it was a tight race last time we got together. And everything was real close.
And I ask you, what's the probability, right, of the Heat mimicking what they did last year, where you're a 7, 8 seed, and now you're making it to the finals? What's the likeliness of that? It's very low.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Bro, come on, dog. That's like, yeah, I'm telling you there's a chance you win the lottery, Joel, but you have to play it.
Hey, I'm going to go buy a ticket.
Come on, folks.
Dog. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and go buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah, for sure. But that's my point. We know that 2 things are going to happen. Either we win a championship and we blow it up and say, hey, mission accomplished. Now we got to figure out how to restart with the young pieces. Or we miss out on a finals championship year after year after year, right? And then we find ourselves making some hard-ass decisions 3 years down the line where now we're questioning who stays, who goes completely, right? Because around the same time that all those contracts are done, yeah, that's great because you also have cap space, but that's also bad because you have a lot of space open on your roster and you don't have anything that as far as a foundation other than Hawkes, because he's the rookie and we know for sure he's going to be here for another 4 years, 5 years. Easy, right? Other than that, there are very few players on this current Heat squad that you look at and you're like, yeah, this is a 5-year player. Duncan is not one, right?
No, we're dying to trade Duncan.
Cool. For sure, Kyle Lowry. For sure, a guy.
Lowry needs to retire already.
Right? For sure, a guy like Caleb Martin, right? He's not a guy that makes it here 5 years, another 5 years.
I mean, on the contract that he's on, that kind of contract, it's value.
Yeah, and he's bound to get another check.
A better contract somewhere else.
He's bound to get a check. So then, again, looking a little bit down the road, and it's not even looking that far down the road, dog. It's literally a year and a half, 2 years into this future. Where are we going to be at with this roster? Where are we going to be at with this team? And I think that we have to consider that we're going to have to make some hard moves before this season is over and immediately after the season is over. But thankfully, the season is not over.
Yikes.
Season's not over.
Yeah, so that's the other thing, because we have the trade deadline is coming up. We're today is the 9th as you're listening to this, and the trade deadline is February 8th. So we have a little bit under a month here now to potentially make a move. And there's been a lot of rumors and stuff heating up. What else have you heard as far as people that we might potentially go after before the deadline?
The problem is like everything that the Heat are being involved in is a guy that isn't necessarily going to move the meter for fans, right? We're talking about a complimentary piece. I would be okay with it being that type of Heat fan, right? I mentioned to you where we can get another player in that can average 13 to 17 points anywhere within that range off the bench. That would be a big key, because right now, if you look at the Heat's roster, we don't have guys that are averaging that many points, bro. And we don't have guys that are averaging double figures. You know what I mean? Like, let me tell you who's at the bottom of the double figures, and you tell me if it's really them. Josh Richardson at 10, Kevin Love at 10, Caleb Martin at 11, and then Hawkes at 13. Of those 4 players, which one do you think really averages 10 points a game?
Hawkes.
That's it. That's it. Because Caleb Martin's only played 20 games. Josh Richardson has already missed 12 games. Kevin Love has only appeared in 28 games. So, yeah, in limited minutes. So, yeah, his average is going to be okay.
Yeah, he might have 12 one game. He might have 2 the next.
You get what I'm saying? So, like, those are things that we have to look at. How are we improving this squad? Because we know the squad needs improvement. We know the squad needs improvement. How do we get there? How do we improve the squad? What type of sacrifices have to be made? What type of deals can be made? Do we go for an immediate response with a DeMar DeRozan or some shit like that? An outright scorer who's going to come in and take somebody's minutes and spot and say, fuck off, go hit the bench. And now we're going to be some type of offensive team. At what cost? Right? Is it a draft pick? Is it a player? Is it a hero? Is it a lot of questions with this Heat team?
Time is ticking, though.
And it can only be helped by Jimmy's appearance. Again, I don't need Jimmy to come in here and be like, yo, I need those 30 points a night, my G. No, but Jimmy needs to play and play 26 minutes a game, 28 minutes a game, average 20 points, 18 points. Let Bam go off. Let Hero go off. Because just with Jimmy being on the court is a threat. It's a threat. Whether he's injured or not, it's a threat. And him not being available like that hurts us, dog. Every single game that he's not out there, dog. Every single game. And then we find ourselves in this, where we're looking at, coño, we could have made a 4th seed. We were only 2.5 games behind for that 4th spot. And now we're at 7. I don't want to be in that position when March and April comes around, though.
Here's an interesting stat I just found. Butler hasn't appeared in more than 64 games in a regular season with Miami since he joined the Heat ahead of the 2019-2020 season.
Eso no te duele.
One of them was COVID, right? We got the 2020-2021 season was a COVID year, but to see, that's a tough one. But you got to look at the success we've had too with him, because of the guy, all the moments.
Yes,
you can't take away from that. And it's like, if the guy needs the rest, there's an argument there to be had that he needs the rest, but at what expense? My
counter argument to that is, what is the likelihood of that rest really guaranteeing you those high-flying, high-scoring performances in the playoffs? What's the guarantee? Because for me, when Hero was in that first series and Jimmy was going off, that shit helped a lot. The moment Hero got hurt in that last playoff series, right? Last year, the moment that Hero was off the floor, one of our biggest offensive threats off the floor, Jimmy's scoring average started to go down and then go down and then go down all the way through to the finals. And I'm almost positive, I'm very fucking positive that if Tyler Hero's on the floor, that doesn't happen. Maybe he still has a decline, right? Because it's hard to average 35 points and shit in the playoffs. But if Jimmy goes out there from averaging 35 to averaging 26, while Hero's averaging 18 to 22, yeah, I'll take that. But that's also on Hero, right? Not being available when it counts.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic. But that's
we got to see, and then that's another thing we got to see this year. If Jimmy is limited, because right now, why is the reason that he's being limited for the most part? He's being managed for his minutes, but he's also dealing with injuries, right? I think they're mainly lower body. I think calf and toe injuries are what are being cited right now. Yeah, which could be minor things that just kind of linger. And you got to really stay off of them to let them heal. And if you do stuff, they might re-aggravate. But for the most part, if he's available come finals time and Hero is available,
Finals time?
finally,
Playoffs time. Because Joel.
sure, playoff time.
Thank
but
you.
That's the thing. We need Hero to be available and
Absolutely.
healthy in the playoffs. And then at that point, I feel like Jimmy's done enough to just, it's like, hey guys, just get me to the big show. Let's say if he has that attitude,
Get me to the playoffs, right?
get me to the big, get me to the party, and I'm gonna do my thing.
Then at that point,
Hero needs to be available and active and do what he does, which is score.
It's just score. Right. I'm 110% in agreement with you. And I think that's why it's fair what Sergio had mentioned to me personally, where it's like, yeah, you have to be.
Shout out to Serge.
Shout out to Serge. You have to be okay with being involving Hero in every single trade, right? That you think is going to be an upgrade to this team, right? Because even with everything I said about Jimmy right now in these last 10 minutes, everything I said about Jimmy, you still can't get rid of him right now. You cannot. So obviously you cannot trade Jimmy, right? So there's one piece gone. Bam is the next player that you cannot trade because of what he gives you. Such amazing defensive abilities on top of being an undersized center and scoring 20 points and averaging 10 and a half rebounds every game. Can't get rid of that guy.
Is Jimmy not tradable?
Jimmy at the moment is not tradable. Jimmy in the offseason.
Because you don't think you'll get enough return for him because he hasn't been playing?
Correct. It's just like Boston is not going to call us and say, hey, give us Jimmy.
I'm not thinking of Boston.
The Lakers, the Clippers are not going to call us and say, give us Jimmy Butler and look at this amazing package that we have for you. Nobody's offering that. Nobody's offering us that. Because I know that Pat Riley's going to be like, hey, dog, check this out. I need your second, third, fourth pick. I need all those first round picks, right? For the next 5 years. I need your first best player. That's a young athlete. And I need your third and fifth best player for Jimmy right now.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. You're not going to get the return on Jimmy.
Sure.
You're not going to get the return. He should bring you the biggest return, but we're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Just like for Bam, right? Like there's no equal trade.
Bam is the most untouchable in my opinion because, God forbid, should we need to rebuild, Bam's a rebuild piece.
Bam's the rebuild piece 100%.
We just looked it up. He's 26 years old, right?
Averaging 23 and 10 right now.
Having a career year, he's only getting better. So that's the guy we would need to keep around. But besides that, it's like anybody can get traded.
Anybody. And again, and this is in the thoughts of upgrading the team to make it better. Because as is, it's not good enough. This team is not good enough as is.
To compete with what's out there.
Yeah.
We've come up short in the finals.
And let me just say something. To compete with the guys that we should be competing with. I'm not talking about playing the Atlantas, the New Yorks. No. I'm talking about, hey, we need to be doing the most we can to compete against Boston, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. Because even for as much shit as Philadelphia goes through, we know that Embiid and them boys can give us problems.
Yeah, no, they're a good team.
Right? So that's the competition I'm talking about. Embiid. That's the competition I'm talking about. Not the rest of the teams in the league. We should be head and shoulders above the rest of the teams in that conference.
So how much longer we got out there on the West Coast?
That's it. We're good. We're coming back home tonight, like I said, against Houston, and then we start that starts off a 4-game homestand. We'll also be playing Oklahoma City on Wednesday. Good young team out the West. Orlando, in-state rivalry on Friday night. That's a team that's obviously ahead in the Southwest Division right now, currently occupying that 4th spot in the East. Just tough. And then after that, we got Charlotte on Sunday. Easy game.
We got to go 3 out of 4 there at minimum, right?
I feel like we got to
flip it.
I think you got to win all 4.
Sure.
If I'm being honest, right?
All these teams we could beat. We
had a 4-game winning streak, and then we lose 3 out of 4. We need to get that back. Because the standings right now in the East are tight. Just to give you an example, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right, are all separated by 3 games. So we're hanging in there without Jimmy. We're hanging in there.
But it's guys that were playing.
But I'd rather have him in the battle.
No, we need him.
I need him in the battle.
We need him back, and we need him healthy. We need him back in there, and we need some wins, man. We need to get some confidence, something rolling here before the trade deadline and the All-Star break.
Yeah. I don't want to have those questions as we get closer and closer to the deadline. Let's see what the Heat can cook up and get some more pizza mañana starting tonight. Let's jump to a team that has been winning consistently.
Talk to me.
Really rolling.
Do your thing.
7 in a row for our fucking Florida Panthers.
Say it again.
7 in a row. Dog.
Lord of mercy.
Lord of mercy. This is the fucking Panthers team that you and I are accustomed to in our short time as hardcore Panthers fans.
We've been, for real. Hey, man, I've been a Panthers fan for a long...
Since 96, baby.
3 years. We were talking shit about them, bro, the last 2 episodes about them. Like, all right, this is a good streak, but can they turn it up? Where can they take it next? And here they are 7 games later.
Damn, you know that Quavo song with Future? Turn your click up, dog. Yeah. That's exactly, I bet they're playing that shit in the fucking, turn it up, because that's exactly what they did. And in the ways that they're winning games, right? They're not just winning games like we won 5-4 in an overtime shootout. Nah. This Panthers team has really gotten back to its roots. In their last 4 games, all right, they've beaten Montreal 4-1, Arizona 4-1, Las Vegas 4-1, and Colorado 8-4.
Sheesh.
And Colorado, I told you, is a number 1 team in the West, or they were a number 1 team in the West. Not no more. You heard me?
Former Stanley Cup champions recently.
You heard me?
Not too long ago. You heard me?
And those guys,
damn, bro, how many goals is that? Jesus, how many did you just rattle off?
Look, in that 4-game stretch, that's 20 goals.
Jesus.
And in the game before that against the Rangers that they won, they also scored 4 goals.
Let's go.
So now that's us. Kind of, I don't want to say predicting it, even though I did call it.
Ew.
But they do have to play like this in order to build these streaks. And for all the praise that we're giving these guys, right? And how much they've been killing it, guess what?
Oh, no, don't do it.
No. Guess what? They still haven't even touched the top of the league yet.
Oh, what do you mean? As far
as the rest of the NHL.
That's because the Bruins are still balling.
Well, the Bruins are still balling. Winnipeg is fucking killing it. They got 56 points. New York Rangers, the team that we just beat, they are still on 54 points, tied with Boston. Vancouver and Colorado tied at 53. And then here come the Panthers at 52.
Hey, we're in the 50s.
With Las Vegas right behind us at 51.
We're in the 50s.
We're in the 50s, yes. And even more importantly, in our conference, we are technically the 3rd best team. We are. But one thing that we have an advantage over these guys is that we've been a lot better at being balanced. On the road, we're currently 12-5, and at home, we're 13-7-2. That's a real good record to have at home, right? Because they've been able to turn it around using the streak, right? And saying, fuck, man, we got 4 or 5 games here at home. Let's go get it. All right, cool. Let's use those momentum to go on the road, because those last 3 games have been on the road. The Arizona game, the Las Vegas game, and the Colorado game. And even by the time you guys are hearing this tonight, they're going to be finishing the road trip in St. Louis. St. Louis is a team that's extremely dangerous. You know what I mean? A good team that's been battling and finding ways to stay in the race in the West. And the Panthers have a chance to go out there and not so much extend the win streak, because that number doesn't matter once you hit 4 or 5, right? Like now you're just concerned about playing the same style with the same energy, same mentality, same hunger, night in, night out.
Right.
Because if you focus on the number, you're going to be like, damn, bro, it's been 13 games or 8 games. Fuck, man. Like, that's hard. Like, I'm tired. And then you slip.
You're putting extra pressure on yourself thinking about that. You know what I mean? It might get to that point, It's only like natural, right? When the guys start thinking about it, maybe not a guy like Big Bob, but maybe some of the guys, some of the young guys like a Verhage or one of these guys that score one night, puts a lot of pressure on himself and just isn't in the right spots or where he needs to be, and just doesn't score the goal that we need him that night. But yeah. It doesn't matter as long as we can keep stacking, win streaks. It is, if it comes to an end, that's fine.
Hell yeah.
But bounce back and let's win big again. And that's what they've been doing right now. The 20 goals in the last 4 games, that's unreal, dog.
It's unreal. It's unreal. It's unreal. And like for me, it goes with starting from the defense, right? We've noticed that Big Bob's health has played a big role in this team's success, right? He's been a lot more healthier this year. He's been in the post a lot more often, which gives these guys a ton of confidence to go out there and play their best, because they know they have one of the best goalies in the game behind them. And he literally is one of the best goalies this year. As a team, the Panthers have only allowed 98 goals. And we're talking about almost 40 games in already. And we're one of the few teams that are still under that 100 goals allowed when it comes to that. And then on the opposite side, like, yeah, this is a team that knows how to put up points, right? We can score points a lot, and we're finding ways to win games. We don't necessarily have to always win the games with those big time shootouts and winning the games 4-1. It's nice when it happens, but we don't depend on it. And the more we can rely on that, then I think that that makes this job of putting big win streaks together, gaining on the points that you can, minimizing the losses, right? Bouncing back from them. All of that is going to end up positioning the Panthers where they want to be, a top 3 team, right? Whether it's in the NHL or in their conference, which allows them 2 rounds of home ice at least, right? And then we know that once it comes to home playoff, the Panthers are really good when it comes to home playoffs, right? On the road, we've shown that we can win games, but like any other team, we can be had, right? But at home, it's really hard to beat us in the playoffs. So I think that's obviously the ultimate goal for these guys. And the manner that they're playing in right now is how they're going to achieve that. And they have to keep that rolling.
And to add to that, we're healthy right now, dog.
Yeah, man.
We're real healthy right now. You talk about Big Bob being healthy and the rest of the team. Everybody's pretty much good to go.
Good to go.
I'm looking at the injury report right now. Nick Cousins is on the IR. Besides him, you got Sam Bennett that's day-to-day. But, our nucleus, our guys that we want out there, that we need out there, night in and night out to, score some goals, they're out there. So there's no excuses right now. We got to try to make sure we solidify ourselves to get that home ice advantage for the playoffs. Yeah,
it's not surprising that's what is working for the Panthers. And you touched on a great topic there, Joel, with the scoring, right? The Panthers have 2 guys right now ranked in the top 10 in goals. Obviously, Sam Reinhart, he's tied for top 3 with 28 goals on the season. And we got Carter Verhaeghe, who has 22 goals on the season. Interestingly enough, both of those guys have played 39 games. So they've only missed a game. So, yeah, it seems that if you're available and you can be healthy, go out there and play and find ways to play with each other. I mentioned that.
Pause.
I mentioned that's what Coach Maurice has to his advantage, right? That he can choose to play these guys separately, choose to play these guys together. Hey, you kill the penalty. Now you come on and play on the power play. And we have these options where guys are being able to contribute offensively without sacrificing defensively. And we haven't even seen the best of Kachuk yet. Honestly,
I feel like
he's been kind of quiet this year.
I hear you on that.
And even like when it comes to team stats, like his name isn't jumping out to you when you look at it. It's a lot of Barkov, it's a lot of Verhaeghe, it's a lot of Sam Reinhart, which is fine because
he's 4th on the team in points.
Yeah, and he only has 8 goals on the season, so obviously he's taking a step back there. But we know that this guy can light up the goalpost at any moment. So I just think that as long as the guys who are supplemental, right, which is the Reinhart and Verhaeghe, they're the ones getting all the stats. It's not because teams are, focusing on them and they're doing amazing shit. No, it's the threat of Barkov, the threat of Matthew on the ice. You know what I mean? Forsling, a guy with tons of speed. It's the threat of those guys that keep everybody in the manner flowing, where the offense is flowing, the defense is flowing, and the chemistry is flowing. That's what's happening against the Heat. They have no chemistry. Every different game, it's a different lineup, and you can get by for a certain amount of games with that. Give it your best attitude, but if you want to see real results, like the Panthers, then this is what you have to do. You have to get everybody on the ice. You have to get everybody healthy, and even if you're not at 100%, go out there, play, because Sam Bennett is a guy who's tough as fuck. He's fighting off some injuries. Evan Rodriguez, he's been fighting some injuries and still getting enough to play a lot of significant ice time. These are guys who are contributing. Yeah, maybe the stats don't show it right in that type of manner, but the effort, the availability, the willingness to show your teammate like, yo, you're balling, I'm gonna help you ball by sacrificing whatever I have to sacrifice. That's why the Panthers are successful right now, dog. They really are embodying the team effort. And like I said, when you only have 3 guys in double figures for goals, and you're still one of the teams that are kicking ass in the NHL and still beating teams 4-1, 3-2, 3-1. Yeah, it shows that you really got a good nucleus there. And look, putting up 8 goals on Colorado is a big deal, dog.
That's a huge deal.
Big deal.
That's a huge deal. I mean, I was just looking at it right now. Sam Reinhart had three goals on his own. I mean, that's a big deal to be able to do that on that team. But we got to also keep in mind that that's not the only road team that they've beat. I'm looking at it here. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4 out of these 7 have been road wins, bro,
including Tampa Bay.
That's something you like to see right there, bro.
Come on,
that you're getting it done on the road in tough environments against tough opponents,
and just by staying consistent.
Yeah,
it's not like these guys are doing anything different, right?
Doing your job,
do your job, be available, play hard, play for each other, and the results will come because we're talented enough. I don't think the Heat roster, dog, is talented enough.
Not
to this level.
We're deep.
Not to this level. Not to this level.
Team, bro.
And yeah, and I'm loving it, dog. I really am, dog. I really enjoy to watch Panthers hockey. I really enjoy to see these guys giving it their all and going out full speed on the ice. And we got to continue to pump them up, dog, because this is a team that's heading in the right direction.
So where do you see coming up for this Blues game? We got the Blues 20-17-1.
I think that we could
mid. If I'm lying,
very mid.
But they're a good team. They can win.
They can win. And anybody's touchable, right? Like we've seen it. We've lost to the Kraken when they had lost 8 games in a row and shit. So anybody can get touched. But yeah, I just think that they have to keep the focus for one more night before coming back home. Keep that focus. And this is another thing. The Panthers haven't been playing that much. You know what I mean? It's a game on a Saturday, and then they don't play again until Tuesday, and then they don't play again until Friday.
So everybody should be rested up.
It makes it a lot easier to travel, makes it a lot easier to get those guys who have those nicks and bumps, right, a little bit closer to 100%. I think that St. Louis game is a test, right, to keep the focus before you come home for a significant homestand. That's what, 3, 6, 5 games back at home. You got to go out there and win that game against St. Louis to kind of ease the pressure of playing at home, right, and just let it come naturally. Forget about the streak number. Just continue to focus on winning games however you can. But I am really looking forward to that homestand. You're talking about staying home against the Kings, the Devils, Ducks, Detroit, Minnesota. Tough games that are in our conference, that if we win and walk away with those 3 points, that's really going to help us chase down a team like Boston, really going to help us put the pressure on New York to continue to win games and have them guys like figure out ways to continue to put up points and keep pace with us, where we're not just keeping pace with other teams. Let's see, man. This Panthers franchise, they've done some great things, and I think that they're close. If they can pull off fucking winning streaks like this, man, what can't they do? What can't they do?
Vamos
Gatos, man. Check those boys out, man. They're going to be home.
I'll leave you with this, bro. The Blues just played the Avalanche back on December 29th, and the Avalanche won 2-1.
There you go.
We got to play the Blues now, so just for whatever that.
And we just put up 8 goals on Colorado. Just saying, we should put up at least 3. At least 3 on St. Louis. Win, lose, or draw. You know what? Go check out the Panthers, man. They're definitely worth it. It's a fun time. Max Joel, we've been there plenty of times.
Love that
fucking
place.
Great time, man. All right. Now we got to that point of the show where we have to talk about the Dolphins. I don't want to talk about the Dolphins.
We don't have to, dog. We just end it right now.
Yeah, but I kind of want to give the people a little bit more than that, dog.
You sure? I got the music queued up.
Yeah. I'm sure. But we'll make it quick. Here's my biggest walkaway, right? When we looked at this team in the beginning of the season, you and I had touched on 3 big things, right? Number 1 was Tua's health. We needed Tua to be healthy for the offensive line to keep him upright in order for us to have some type of chance. Number 1 objective was complete. Boom. We kept Tua completely healthy, played all 17 games, didn't miss not one, put up great stats, had some really good games, had some really bad games, but ultimately he played all 17 games. We needed to see that from him, right? Cool.
Sure.
The second thing was establishing the Dolphins as a threat in the NFL. Because we had shown glimpses of that while Tua was playing, but then he got hurt and it all went away. And then this year, we saw that, or we saw the development of that, right? Where the team went from just a flash in the pan, throw it to Tyreek Hill every time, and to, damn, this is a full-blooded offense. It has running options, it has throwing options, it has trick plays, it has movement, it has everything. Cool. What we didn't see is the application of said offense into victories for big games. That's what we didn't see. So we saw the next level of the offense, but it didn't necessarily equate to big wins, right? Put an X on that. The last thing that we had was winning the division, because we knew, based off the sample size that we had last year, that winning the division was extremely possible this year. And lo and behold, it came to fruition. Buffalo had squandered it. They had been playing bad, losing games. Dolphins were winning games. And we were in a perfect position to win the division. Perfect position to win the division. And guess what? Failed completely. And the fact that we're 2-3 in the last 5 games of the season is what makes me, as weird as this shit is going to sound, dog, and as whack as it's going to sound, it makes me call this season something of a failure. Because it was all in front of us for us to take. And these motherfuckers couldn't get it, dog, for whatever reason. We can talk about injuries. We can talk about play calling. We can talk about who's available, not available, this, that, all of that. And those things matter. I'm not saying that they don't matter, but they do. They're not the big picture. The big picture is it was in front of us. We had the opportunity. We talked a lot about having the opportunity, and we still let it slip. I don't know what to make of that, dog, as a fan. Because now either McDaniel was talking a lot of shit that the boys didn't buy into, or the boys just let McDaniels down. Tua let these... I don't know. All these questions come about, right? But that's the shit that has me the most perplexed right now. Because the season was there for us to have, dog. Number 2 seed, dog, in the fucking AFC. With all the things that happened this year, Burrow getting hurt, Mahomes and the Chiefs playing bad, Bills playing bad, Rodgers getting hurt. All these things that happened, dog, that lined up for us. The emergence of fucking A-Chan. All these things that lined up for us, dog. And nothing to show for it. Except for a playoff berth. Which I had automatically assumed based off of last year.
Yeah, it's not the playoff berth we're seeking. It's the playoff win. And going into the playoffs right now, we don't feel the best about our chances about winning this game on the road in Arrowhead. It's a tall task, even with the Chiefs having their issues, man. You look at this, you look at the second half offense for this team, which for me, that's what it boils down to, for this game. And, for this game in particular, because if we really talk about what the season boils down to, just between you and I, it's that Tennessee Titans game and that meltdown. That meltdown with 3 minutes, we win that game, and the loss doesn't matter as much because we would have already secured our own destiny. But typical Dolphins fashion, last game of the season, even though we already had the double-digit wins, we had the playoffs clinched. The bigger picture was that game, the result of that game, what the implications were for a win in that game, and we just couldn't get the job done once again.
And and we can look at the other games, because technically that Tennessee game wasn't necessarily a big game for us, right? Tennessee was a bad team. We were favored, home, Monday Night Football, all this stuff. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily like a big time opponent that we lost to. Yeah, dog. That lets me know that while we have made progress, it's not the type of progress that Dolphins fans think it is. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this, right? Because do you think the Cleveland Browns fan is saying, but at least we made the playoffs, though. The season was shit, but at least we made the playoffs. Or do you think that they're like, damn, we could have fucking had the division had shit gone different? I'm pretty sure they're thinking like that, because they lost Chubb. They lost fucking their quarterback at some point. Watson went down, didn't play as many games. Joe Flacco came in and pretty much saved the season for these guys. You don't think those guys are full of regret? I feel like that's the level that we're on. Houston has made the playoffs 2 times in 5 years. We just made it back to back. So we're on the same level as the Houston Texans. if we're being legit and being really real with ourselves, not Dolphins fans, just looking at it from the outside and the NFL and which franchises are doing what. Yeah, Pittsburgh made the playoffs.
That's wild.
Again.
That's wild.
So you think those guys are up in Pittsburgh are like, oh yeah, we made the playoff season. Good season, man. Nah, they're looking at themselves and saying, fuck, we could have had this division. We could have been a 4 seed. We left X game on the calendar.
That's a tough division.
Yeah.
Especially the way that
so is ours. So is ours.
Oh, for sure.
So is ours. And then again, we get all the breaks. All of the breaks. Until the end of the season where shit started to go bad, right? And we didn't get all of the breaks. But we got a lot of breaks this year. And we still couldn't come up with an AFC East title. Wild.
We thought, psych. We thought.
And now, as you guys know, Andrew Van Ginkel, definitely not playing Saturday. Jerome Baker, out. Wrist surgery. Definitely not playing for the rest of the season. Van Ginkel's definitely not playing for the rest of the season. Where are we at? Where are we at for this Saturday game?
Between a rock and a hard place, my boy.
And yeah, you got to really be like, well, fuck it. I'm a Dolphins fan. I still think that we can win. And there's no doubt that the Dolphins have a legitimate chance to win that game. They're going to be on the field. We know the Chiefs haven't been the Chiefs. So they're going to have a chance to win that game. My question is, on that chance, on a scale of 0 to 100, what's the real number? What's the realistic expectation number of having that chance? Is it 100%? Is it 75%? 30%? 50-50? I don't know.
A lot of questions.
A lot of questions for this Dolphins team. And for everybody who wants to say, but the regular season was, fuck the regular season. That shit's a wrap. It's a wrap. It didn't come out the way we wanted to. Last year, we went 1-4 in our last 5 games. This year, we improved by a game to 2-3. And I don't give a fuck who the opponent is. I don't care about that. We're talking about heading into the playoffs with some type of momentum. This Dolphins team, under Mike McDaniel and Tua and all of this great stuff, Tyreek Hill, all of this great stuff, 2-3, 1 game improvement. And we didn't even, yeah, I'm not even going to touch on the Tyreek Hill shit, right? Because I don't want to get killed, but Tyreek Hill is extremely responsible for this. Tua, extremely responsible for this. Mike McDaniel, extremely responsible for this. And it starts and ends there, dog. Yeah, it starts and ends there, dog. Oh, now we got a playoff game, and now we got to shift the focus to the Saturday game.
Like we're going into the playoffs, and like I should be excited.
We all should be.
We have a playoff game on Peacock on Saturday. Don't forget to download Peacock.
I have it.
And I'm not excited, dog. Like as a Dolphins fan who's always on the outside looking in, when it comes to the playoff situation, like all right, none of my team didn't make it this year. We did. We made it. We still have a shot. We have a shot at sweet redemption. I think there's still a glimmer, a little sliver of hope where if the Dolphins manage to pull out a win this weekend against Kansas City, all is right in the Dolphins world, and there's a little bit of redemption, no matter what happens thereafter.
For one more day.
No matter what happens thereafter, there's at least that redemption. Like, you know what? The season wasn't a total failure.
Yeah.
But
the regular season was a failure. 1,000%, dog. AFC East was ours. And we didn't walk away with it, dog. We didn't walk away with it. Failure. We got to be real with each other.
We choked.
We failed.
We choked.
Now we have an opportunity to make the postseason not a failure. And maybe, like you said, it's hard to be excited today, right? Especially with the news that you're getting with players missing out. I'm sure as Thursday, Friday rolls around, the vibe will start to pick up. But in the back of your mind, everybody's going to be thinking, are the same old Dolphins going to show up on Saturday? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. I don't think so, but we'll find out. Yeah. Let's play the fucking theme music and get out of here, dog.
Well, one last thing. Golf is back.
Yes. The Century. What a fucking great tournament.
You almost had the winner.
Damn! damn, dog, I put $5 on fucking Jordan Spieth, dog.
And he was very, very close to winning.
Super close.
Got solo third.
Yeah, man.
So
good to see him playing well, though.
All
right?
these guys are playing well, bro.
Yeah,
man. It was a shootout, and Chris Kirk actually won it, ran away with the shit.
Bro.
He played amazing. Nobody knows who that guy is. So
good for him, though,
yeah,
dog.
good for him. Good for him winning the first, event on the tour. It's going to be, a good season in golf. These guys are primed.
For sure. And the way that he did it, too, right? With Scotty breathing down his neck,
Scotty
Jordan
kind of tailed off a little bit.
Jordan was there.
He had Thigala.
Thigala was all over him.
Spieth right behind him.
You know what I mean? So, again, to be not necessarily, quote unquote, a known name and withstand that pressure and go out there and shoot a great round on the final day to get a dub.
And to birdie 17, like the beauty, you talk about, taking the pressure off of yourself going into 18. Yeah, 18's a par 5. So for these guys, they're like, I can at least birdie that hole, but to birdie, 17 and basically that's the winning hole. So you can just kind of cruise and just, hey, I can par 18. I don't have any stress. That's a good feeling. So congrats to that guy, man.
Badass.
But, yeah, looking forward to some more good golf coming up here.
Yeah, man. We can't talk golf without talking about Tiger Woods and Nike splitting.
Oh, real quick, throw it in there.
Yeah, the end of an
theme
era.
Music already, so this
It's
is
okay.
empty.
That's an end of an era. If you haven't bought Tiger Woods Nike gear, go get it because they ain't happening no more.
27 years and it's done.
Done.
Now the question is, where's he going?
I don't know, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
We'll have you here. Tune in next week.
Absolutely. And as you gotta know, you gotta tell a friend.
To tell a friend.
To tell another friend.
Tell everybody that they know.
To tell everybody that they know that we're gonna keep doing this on a weekly basis. Y'all win, lose, or draw. We're out here. We're fans, and we're keeping it real. Until next time. Peace.